we got the Holland Tunnel coming up here. This reminds me of my days as a cab driver. When I wanted to become a cab driver, I found out there are all these administrative hoops that you have to jump through. It's not just like you get to be a cab driver. You have to take a physical. That was fun. I went to a doctor that the cab fleet that was sponsoring me recommended. They said go to him and get a physical. And I went in and I sat down at the examination table. The doctor walked in and he said, "How do you feel?" And I said, "Great." He said, "That'll be $50." So I was done with my physical, and then they told me, "Okay, now you have to go take your English competency test." And I thought, well, that's strange. It doesn't seem like that would actually exist, knowing cab driving in New York City. But, you know, I was anxious to please, so I went to this office. It was sort of like something out of like a 1984 film or something, you know. It was like some real weird, dilapidated, antiquated, anachronistic office full of old ladies, and on each one of their desks they had reel-to-reel tape recorders. You could see them through a glass window from the waiting room, and you'd see them have someone come to the desk and then they'd press a button, and then something would happen and some time would pass and the person would leave. It was really puzzling, mysterious. So I waited. I was waiting in a room with like 10 Arabs, 6 South Koreans, 2 Polish guys, 5 Russians, and me. And I thought, well, I'm going to get an A on this test. This is great. So after a while, the little old lady walked in with a list in her hand and she said my name. I walked in and sat down at her desk and she smiled at me and she opened a booklet and she handed me a booklet and she said, "One moment," and she pressed the record button on the reel-to-reel tape recorder, and then she said, "Hi, this is your English competency test. Please open the booklet to page 42. So okay, I can do that. I opened the booklet to page 42. And when I got it to 42, I showed it to her and she said, "Good. Now, please read Article 4, Section 2 on that page." So I read Article 4, Section 2, which said, "The driver shall not dispense the passenger any more than 6 inches from the curb unless there is an obstruction." And I was proud that I knew what the word obstruction meant. Obstruction. So I said it with really good diction. Unless, raised my eyebrows to her, there is an obstruction. And she smiled and she said, "Good. Now, what does that mean?" And like, I pride myself on my use of words. And I opened my mouth to say something, and I truly could not think of another way to say what had just been said. The driver shall not dispense the passenger more than 6 inches from the curb unless there is an obstruction. And I wanted to say it in a way that would get me an A on the test. You know, I wanted to say something like, you know, Walt Whitman or Tolstoy, or, you know, I wanted to like quote someone or do something, and I couldn't think of anything, and I started getting like this kind of like existential lockdown in my brain. I was scared. Like, I thought, I'm gonna fail this freaking test. I'm gonna fail it. And my mouth was hanging open and she was leaning forward, and it was getting to be this very tense moment, and at least 30 seconds had passed, and I kind of started going, and then from the desk next to me I heard this. There's an Arab guy and he said, "You're taking the passenger. Okay, so Kennedy Airport, you're taking the passenger. Holland Tunnel, yeah. New Jersey Turnpike, you're taking the passenger. Okay, Holland Tunnel, you're taking, yes. Okay, so JFK, yeah. Kennedy Airport, okay, so you take the passenger. Okay, Holland Tunnel." And the woman that was giving him the test said, "Good, you passed." And I looked at the lady who was looking at me, and she kind of caught on to what I was doing. And I said, "Article, whatever it is, 14, means what it says." And she said, "Good, you passed." This is a fine example of making too much work for yourself. Sometimes you just have to accept something is what it is.